Same as ready.
Yeah, that's just in the airport.
In the airport.
So that is up in the plane, I believe going over Panama City.
I think
Yeah,
that's
there's
what
a landing in Guatemala. Yeah. It's between the three mountains, eh?
So,
So who's that? Tell us.
so this is Steve and Carla, the two that hosted us for the week. And they're the ones that run the House of Refuge and other programs around Guatemala or Chickamauga.
And Steve started the House of Refuge by handing out tracts. That's how the House of Refuge started. He doesn't speak any Spanish, so he asked God, what can he do? Because he talked about in his book about the parable, the feeding with the bread and the fish, and he said with his little bits of bread, he could give. You can give in so many ways. It doesn't have to be money or whatever. It could be your talents or your ideas. And he talked. That's how House of Refuge started, by him walking around the town of Chickamauga or whatever and handing out, putting tracts in the homeless people's boots or in their shirts. That's how it all started, because he couldn't speak it. He couldn't speak Spanish, but that's how he could give of his bread and fish, is by handing out tracts. That was the start of House of Refuge.
Awesome.
Okay, so this is on our drive from the airport to Chickamauga.
I must say, this was the scariest drive of my life.
And we did stop at McDonald's for Catherine, the little girl there. She's never been there before, and so our group decided to take her there for her first time.
Never been to McDonald's. Imagine that. We couldn't even get the Happy Meal box out of her hand, like you normally throw that out. She was keeping everything, so that was kind of neat.
So this is just around the corner from where we were staying, heading into the town. And this is our road that we stayed on. So our road was one of the only ones that wasn't paved, and the next picture shows how rough it actually was.
That's the road. That's their road.
Do they have
A
rain
lot
every
of
day?
the roads are like that.
No.
Only one day.
And so across the road there is the House of Refuge where we stayed. And
Wait a minute, Wes. Is that the House of Refuge that you took a picture of?
Yeah, and that's from the neighbors.
How did
I
you
was-
get to the
that's
neighbor's
what I
roof?
I was in, I was in the guy gave Sandra and I a
Oh,
tour,
okay.
and I took a picture from across the road.
no, that surprised me too. I was like, they climbed the roof?
No, the neighbors were really friendly, and they were building like a straw background in their house, like a gazebo thing. And so we saw them bringing this great big load of leaves and stuff in, so we said, oh, can we see what you're doing? And so they had a whole group that they had brought in from down by the ocean as friends, and they were using machetes to cut the wood and shave it all up, and making poles, and it was a pretty neat process. And they made tables and then these things, and then they invited us for supper, but we had to fly
They were
out.
they were so nice.
And then he gave us a tour of his house, and when we were upstairs, I took a picture from across the road.
So these are the two pet ducks they had.
The ones that are left?
Yeah, the ones that are left.
That's Daffy and Patty.
Oh.
Daffy is the brown one and Patty is the white one. And Carla saved both of those ducks.
From being eaten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a real rescue place.
Steve and Carl actually went away was it Christmas? I think they came to Canada and they came back, and one of the ducks was someone
They had 3,
that had eaten it. Yeah.
and the people who are watching their house actually accidentally ate their duck.
It got killed.
Okay, next one.
So this is our cooks and cleaner ladies for the week. And so they were there every morning before we were up cooking breakfast, and as soon as they were done cooking breakfast, they started on lunch. And when we went out, they cleaned the place and made it all nice and ready for us when we got home.
It was a mother and daughter. Her name was Delia and Goya. And Goya's kids were at the house often too, and we just got really bonded with the kids, with them. And every time Catherine's mom, Goya. But every time after you eat, you say, gracias. It's a thing you have to do there. You say, you thank them for the meal. And what did they say back?
Bon provecho.
unofficial. It's kind of a thing that's, you do there.
So this is just the rooms that we stayed in, and that one was Carl and Sandra's room.
You don't see the dog on the porch that kept us up
Yeah,
every
those
night.
two. Oh,
And so that's just the other bedrooms that were around there. Now, Carl, do you want to explain this?
Oh, there's the.
Yeah, this is an amazing picture. There's lots of meaning behind
Do you remember the meeting?
it. I don't remember all of it, no, because I didn't hear the whole thing, but if you look really closely at the picture, the attic, the arm that he's actually putting the needle in is Jesus's arm. So it's basically, you know, he's taking it for this man, and then, I don't know, I wasn't in the room when they started explaining the whole picture, but everything in that picture has a meaning. I don't know, Carl, if you remember.
And he carried the weight of the world on his shoulders. That's why you have the world behind
Yeah,
him.
there's an atlas.
There's a map of the world.
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of talk.
And there's a king of spades there, and that was a real meaningful thing too, but I don't remember what the king of spades was.
We should have wrote the story down, but we'll get information on it.
There's Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really
So
fascinating.
this is in the back of the truck. We only have one picture of it. So when we did go around and when we didn't have the vans, we all just piled into the back of the truck because down there it's legal and everyone does it.
Yeah.
No law against it.
And so this is just down near the market, one of the streets, and that's how busy it is most days around there. So just everyone walking and going. So this is in the market, just all the booths and stuff that were along the side, and how crammed it is walking. It's just one path on each side, and you just make your way around people. These are one of the cooks in the market that they sit there all day and making tortillas, and
All day.
that's all you hear is them clapping. And
Sandra kept thinking we were getting clapped for
I thought
every time we walked
they were
by.
applauding for us because they always clap.
Look at the Canadians, clap, clap.
Carl at the one church with the boys after they loaded the truck up.
Yeah, they were all loading in the back of this truck, and I didn't get the picture of him in the truck because he jumped out too quick, but they're all piling in after church, and so Carl climbs in, and they all start laughing because he was known as Loco down there, so.
Pastor Loco.
Thanks, Mark. Can't hide, no. Oh, my goodness.
That's just worse than
Oh,
that.
So this is on the compound where they're building their new, pretty much, yeah,
What kind of
city of
trees are
refuge. The mango trees.
Mangoes.
Yeah, so that's just one of the pictures. This is at the one church we went to for
El Shaddai
El
Church.
Shaddai.
Yeah.
I didn't-
That was the Sunday.
No,
Yeah,
yeah, it
that
was
was
the
the Sunday.
Sunday.
so that was the Sunday we
Yeah, he
went.
was away, so I was the preacher.
That is Artie, the one lady that went with us from St. Catherine.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm
St.
just gonna
Catherine.
say something about, Artie came down and, this was her first mission trip. And she had said to me, we were roommates, and she had said, God told me that I needed to go to Guatemala, but I really don't know why. And, so as the week was going on, you know, she was just amazing, like, she was so great with our team, she fit in so well, and she was laughing, we were having a really good time. And, she was a real prayer warrior. And yeah, at night she would say to me, you know, you guys are all so compassionate, like you care about the dogs and you hug and you do all this. I just don't feel it. I don't feel the same thing that you guys are feeling. I'm not really sure why God brought me. Well, as the week went on, I mean, she was just so powerful in her prayers for, I got really sick while I was down there, and she was continually praying over me. And I said to her, you know, maybe God didn't send you to Guatemala just for the Guatemalan people. Maybe He sent you with our team to bless our team and to help all of us, because she truly was a blessing to each one of us. She had so much to offer, and you know, we made an amazing friend through her, and hopefully she's going to come down and meet everybody one day, maybe in January when Steve and Carla come. But, you know, I said to her, maybe that was God's plan, you know, to put you in a team that needed that powerful prayer warrior, and that you could just be a part of our team that way. So she was just amazing.
She was prophesying too, like that was amazing.
Yeah,
She
over and
prophesied
over.
people.
she could just, read that.
This, if I could just make a little point, was kind of encouraging to me. This little church, like, that's the church, eh, guys? I mean,
Yeah.
that's just pretty much, I mean, it was a couple rows wider than that, but I mean, like, the simplicity, and up there was the altar there, just in front of the pulpit, and, you know what, I mean, we were amazed, like, it was, they have church, like, all the time, and we really wanted to, that night, we were believing God for that same fire to come, to this area, to local churches, and, I mean, it was just amazing. It wasn't a big crowd, and I guess we're guilty of measuring things by the size of the crowd. And it was a wonderful time, and those people were they're hurting people, but we all found that they're so humble. Like, there's no arrogance. If you want to pray for them, you pray for them. It's just totally receptive, eh, guys? It was.
This night was probably one of the most powerful nights, like, just because the worship was so strong, and even though it was such a small group, it was truly moving, and it was just incredible to watch. Like, we just want to bring this all back home with us and have this here.
We did a lot of weeping in that church.
Yeah.
That church was one where my mother shared her testimony, I opened up completely, and just the group in total did a great job there, and everyone there was even open, and it was just really easy to talk to them afterwards, and it was a great time.
That's me and my son.
That's her other son.
Yeah. That little boy, after I gave my testimony, he came up to Steve and he said, I want to give this little keychain to her. God told me to give this to her, so he gave me this little keychain with a car on it that
And
lit
I got
up.
a shell.
So we were believing that maybe I'm getting a new car and Wesley's getting a beach house. The two are bonded.
That's that's Jaime's church.
So is that those two churches close in the same town?
No.
Same town, but
Same
like I said, there's
town.
lots
Across,
of churches, yeah.
Yeah.
It was just across town to So this is after the one ceremony. Everyone comes up front, and everyone pretty much came up, and everyone was hugging each other and praying for each other, and it was just really eye-opening. More that day for seeing it all for one of the first times, and just meant a lot.
Good.
So this is the breakfast we had for the
Friends of Jesus.
They call them Friends of Jesus, they're actually, what they call here prostitutes. They're prostitutes, but we call them Friends of Jesus there. And it's a monthly thing that they have there. Carta's ministry that she started, she has permission. She asked permission from the bar owners to go into the bars, and she asked for us to go in there, and we got to invite Friends of Jesus to the breakfast on the Thursday. This is the breakfast.
Yeah.
So you had to go to the bar?
We went to the bar.